James Harden is taking direct aim at Lakers superstar Luka Doncic after their high-stakes NBA Cup clash, and the tension between both sides is becoming impossible to ignore. The Los Angeles Lakers walked into the game focused, disciplined, and ready to prove a point. Under head coach JJ Redick, they walked out with a statement win, beating the Clippers 135-118 and exposing the widening gap between a team thriving on chemistry and a team drowning in early season chaos. From the opening tip, it was clear that Luka Doncic had arrived with a mission. He dissected the Clippers' defense possession after possession, turning every mismatch into an opportunity. Doncic erupted for 43 points, hitting from every angle. Step backs, transition pull-ups, drives through traffic, and he complemented it with 13 assists and 9 rebounds. For stretches of the night, he looked like a one-man offensive engine, controlling the game at his own pace and forcing the Clippers to chase him endlessly. LeBron James, now 40 years old, delivered his most polished performance of the season. His decision-making was flawless, his pacing deliberate, and his leadership unmistakable. Scoring 25 points on near-perfect efficiency, he repeatedly exploited the Clippers' slow rotations while adding 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and timely defensive plays that set the tone throughout the night. Austin Reeves continued his upward trajectory with a commanding 31-point outing. His confidence was evident in his attacking mindset, hitting mid-range jumpers, finishing through contact, and creating plays when the Lakers needed a secondary initiator. His 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals reflected a complete performance that showcased his growing maturity as a key piece of this Lakers roster. Following the loss, James Harden chose not to sugarcoat his thoughts on Luka Doncic's performance. Speaking with Clippers on SI, Harden attributed Doncic's 3-point success to sheer volume, saying, "Great player. You get enough attempts, you're gonna make some of them." The comment, while subtle, carried a clear tone of frustration, the kind that surfaces when elite competitors feel a game getting out of their control. Harden himself had a productive night statistically, with 29 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds. But his 3 of 12 shooting from deep and the Clippers' inability to generate consistent stops overshadowed his individual effort. For Harden, who has spent most of his career on winning teams, this rough start to the season has been a jarring experience. He admitted as much, calling the situation very abnormal and noting that he has never been part of a stretch where everything feels like it's going against us. Still, he emphasized his trust in the Clippers front office and coaching staff, insisting that the group has the character to withstand this adversity. Though the results on the court continue to suggest otherwise, the Clippers' struggles are not rooted in effort alone. The roster is breaking down physically. Kawhi Leonard, at 34, has already missed 9 games. Bradley Beal, expected to be a major scoring presence, is out for the season with a fractured hip. And beyond the stars, the team is relying heavily on veterans deep into their 30s and even 40s. Chris Paul at 40, Brook Lopez at 37, Nicolas Batum at 36, Bogdan Bogdanovic at 32. It's a roster built on past greatness rather than present reliability. This aging core has put Harden into a position he has rarely experienced, carrying a team that can't stay healthy and can't consistently defend the modern perimeter-oriented offenses dominating the league. The contrast to the Lakers, younger energy off the bench, stars playing their best basketball, and a system crafted under JJ Redick to maximize versatility was on full display in this matchup. Meanwhile, Luka Doncic continues to be the lightning rod of every major storyline involving the Lakers. Despite shooting just 33.3% from deep this season, he has embraced a high-volume approach, launching over 11 threes per game. And while the efficiency isn't where he expects it to be, his willingness to keep firing forces defenses to stretch, opening lanes for himself, Reeves, and LeBron, a key reason the Lakers' offense is top tier. The win pushed Los Angeles to a strong 13-4 record, cementing them as one of the early elite teams of the season. The Clippers dropped to 5-13 meanwhile only deepens the pressure surrounding Harden, Ty Lue, and the organization as a whole. With injuries piling up and defensive issues becoming structural rather than temporary, the road ahead is steep. As tensions rise and challenges mount, the Clippers' veteran-heavy roster faces a pivotal question. Can they still compete with the league's best? Or is this the beginning of a long, painful slide? And as for Luka Doncic and the Lakers, nights like this only strengthen the sense that Los Angeles is building towards something big, while their rivals across the hall are struggling just to keep their season afloat. Will DeAndre Ayton play against the Mavericks? Lakers release significant new injury. Update. On Friday night, the 13-4 Los Angeles Lakers returned to the floor with another high-stakes matchup, this time welcoming the 5-14 Dallas Mavericks to Crypto.com Arena. And even though this is technically just one more game in the early regular season, both organizations know there is far more weight behind this meeting. These two franchises have been tied together ever since the blockbuster deal last February changed the direction of both teams, perhaps for the next decade. That trade, still one of the most debated moves in recent years, saw Los Angeles send away 10-time All-Star and 2020 champion Anthony Davis, along with promising 3-and-D guard Max Christie and a 2029 first-round pick. In return, the Lakers acquired Luka Doncic, a 5-time All-NBA first-team superstar who is not only 6 years younger than Davis, but also, quite plainly, a generational offensive engine. The Mavericks added Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris into the package to make the deal work, and both front offices shipped out second-rounders to Utah so the Lakers could clear a roster spot by moving Jalen Hood-Schifino. When the dust settled, then Dallas general manager Nico Harrison tried to reassure the Mavericks fan base that the franchise remained on track to contend for championships. After all, Doncic had just led them to the 2024 NBA Finals. But the optimism didn't last long. Davis, now no longer with Los Angeles, went down nearly immediately after the trade, a storyline that has followed him throughout his career. Kyrie Irving, coming off one of his most efficient seasons, suffered a devastating ACL tear in March. With both stars unavailable, Dallas tumbled into the play-in and then right out of postseason contention. The only silver lining arrived on lottery night when Dallas unexpectedly landed the #1 pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, eventually selecting Duke superstar and All-American Cooper Flagg. Even with a franchise-changing prospect entering the picture, the ripple effects from the Doncic trade continued to haunt the organization. As the new season approached, the Mavericks still needed a functional plan while Irving worked his way back. Harrison's answer was D'Angelo Russell, a move that puzzled many around the league and quickly created friction. Head coach Jason Kidd, clearly unconvinced, gave minutes to undrafted two-way rookie Ryan Nembhard over Russell at times. The fanbase's frustration boiled over. Chants of "Fire Nico" echoed during home games. Harrison reportedly used a separate exit route to avoid the crowd. Eventually, team governor Patrick Dumont made the call. Harrison was let go just 9 months after the franchise-altering Doncic deal. Meanwhile, on the Lakers side, the post-Doncic era has begun with real promise. Los Angeles isn't quite at the level of the explosively athletic Oklahoma City Thunder or the reigning champion Denver Nuggets, but the Lakers have positioned themselves firmly among the Western Conference's top-tier threats. And depending on how Houston evolves, whether Reed Shepherd continues to improve or the Rockets find a permanent replacement for Fred VanVleet, the Lakers could soon be in the thick of the conference race. A major part of that stability comes from the off-season additions. DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jake LaRavia have given the Lakers a more complete roster, balancing scoring, defense, and toughness off the bench. But heading into Friday's game, that depth is being tested. DeAndre Ayton, now the Lakers' starting center and one of the most impactful off-season acquisitions, suffered a right knee contusion during Sunday's 108-106 win over the Utah Jazz. It was a physical game, one where Ayton absorbed plenty of contact in the paint. He sat out Tuesday's rivalry game against the Clippers. According to Orange County Register reporter Kobe Price, Ayton has now been upgraded to probable to suit up against Dallas. That's significant. His size, rebounding, and ability to anchor the defense have become essential pieces of Los Angeles' identity. Marcus Smart, however, is trending the other direction. The former Defensive Player of the Year has been downgraded to questionable with back spasms, an issue that can flare unpredictably and limit mobility, especially for a guard whose game relies on physicality and defensive pressure. This isn't just another regular season game either. According to the NBA, if Los Angeles wins, the team clinches home court advantage in their upcoming NBA Cup quarterfinal matchup. With the league placing added emphasis on the in-season tournament and teams increasingly treating it as a legitimate competitive goal, this is not a small detail. Across the league, Friday's slate is loaded with games that will determine group winners. Orlando versus Detroit for East Group B, Phoenix versus Oklahoma City for West Group A, San Antonio versus Denver for West Group C, and Milwaukee versus New York where the Knicks clinch with a win. A recent NBA injury report lists Anthony Davis as questionable as he continues dealing with the calf strain that has kept him out since October 29th. Although he no longer plays for the Lakers, his status remains relevant to the context of the trade fallout. Kyrie Irving remains sidelined as he continues his recovery. Reserve guard Dante Exum is also out, and center Derek Lively too remains unavailable due to a right foot injury, thinning Dallas's interior rotation even more. Tip-off is scheduled for 7 p.m. Pacific Time at Crypto.com Arena, with national and local coverage on Prime Video and Spectrum Sportsnet. NBA trade buzz continues to surge as the Los Angeles Lakers are increasingly projected to make a bold, high-stakes pursuit of Milwaukee Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo, a $186 million franchise player who could form the league's most dangerous duo alongside Luka Doncic. Across front offices, the topic has become unavoidable. Scouts, executives, and insiders acknowledge that the Lakers are positioning themselves for a post-LeBron future built entirely around Doncic. And with the team's internal strategy shifting toward aggressive win-now decisions, the idea of pairing him with another generational MVP is no longer viewed as fantasy. It's becoming a legitimate talking point among key decision makers. This momentum stems from a broader organizational outlook. The Lakers do not appear interested in drifting into mediocrity after the LeBron James era. LeBron, now 40 years old, remains productive, but the franchise wants to leap directly into another championship window. Doncic's production, consistently floating around triple-double averages, has convinced Los Angeles that they already have their foundational superstar. What they want now is a co-anchor powerful enough to dominate both ends of the court, and that's where Giannis enters the conversation. At 30 years old, still firmly in his prime, Giannis remains one of the NBA's most unstoppable forces. His combination of scoring, rebounding, defensive impact, and relentless motor makes him the type of player franchises almost never consider trading. Yet around Milwaukee, pressure is increasing. The Bucks struggle significantly when Giannis sits, and their attempts to reinforce the roster have produced inconsistent results. Their pursuit of additional scorers like Zach LaVine and Anthony Simons illustrates a team searching for balance. With uncertainty growing, rival teams view this as a rare window, and among those keeping close watch, the Lakers stand at the front of the line, with JJ Redick now guiding the team's direction as head coach. One of the most talked about proposals is a massive 5-team blueprint, the kind of blockbuster that could reshape the NBA for the next decade. In this concept, the Lakers acquire Giannis, along with Dallas's Olivier Maxence Prosper and Brooklyn's Tyrese Martin. It's a transformational move that shifts the identity of the franchise. In return, multiple major shifts occur. LeBron James, age 40, is sent to Dallas, joining a roster with young talent and the will to compete immediately. Brooklyn receives Dalton Knecht, a promising young shooter. Milwaukee receives RJ Barrett, PJ Washington, Caleb Martin, and Najee Marshall, plus significant draft control, including swap rights for 2026, 2028, 2030, and 2032, along with a 2031 first-round pick. Toronto and Brooklyn receive young guards and trade exceptions, granting both franchises valuable flexibility for future roster construction. Executing a 5-team deal is extremely complex. Timing rules, draft restrictions, and aligning priorities across multiple franchises create major hurdles. Still, the fact that this structure exists and is circulating privately among insiders highlights how serious the Lakers are about reshaping their future around Luka Doncic. Other versions simplify the structure without changing the overall objective. One scenario features the Lakers sending LeBron, Austin Reeves, and multiple first-round picks directly to Milwaukee in exchange for Giannis and Kyle Kuzma. The implications of this version are significant. Milwaukee prioritizes young talent and draft capital over retaining a superstar entering his 30s. Los Angeles remains committed to maximizing Doncic's prime with elite support. LeBron at 40 possibly embraces a move to a team positioned to contend immediately. Even in simplified form, this blockbuster dramatically shifts the NBA hierarchy and could alter the league's power structure almost overnight. For Los Angeles, the vision is straightforward, pairing a 26-year-old Luka Doncic, already one of the most dominant offensive engines in the NBA, with a 30-year-old Giannis gives the Lakers a legitimate pathway to multiple championships. Their skill sets align with remarkable synergy. Doncic controls pace, reads defenses, and scores at all 3 levels. Giannis brings unmatched athleticism, elite rim pressure, and all-defense impact. Together, they create a 2-superstar core capable of scoring in bunches, defending at an elite level and carrying the franchise for the next half-decade or more. Their recent head-to-head battles, including Doncic's 41-point explosion and a dominant win, only reinforce how overwhelming this pairing could be. The Lakers, now coached by JJ Redick, understand the global influence and competitive power of assembling Europe's two biggest modern stars under one banner. For a brand built on star power, this move represents both a basketball decision and a global marketing milestone. For the Bucks, the dilemma is undeniable. Giannis is the cornerstone of the franchise, a player who transformed Milwaukee and delivered a championship. Trading him risks immediate backlash and emotional shock. But strategically, a blockbuster trade could provide clarity and long-term stability. Multiple starting caliber wings, defensive reinforcements, a refreshed draft pipeline, and flexibility to retool the roster over the next several years. If the Bucks believe their current roster has reached its ceiling, this type of move may be the most responsible long-term option. Dallas secures LeBron's leadership experience and championship pedigree, providing instant improvement and elevating their playoff ceiling. Brooklyn and Toronto take steps toward reshaping their futures. Young guards, financial flexibility, and trade exceptions allow both franchises to rebuild smartly and strategically. Player comparison snapshot: Giannis Antetokounmpo, 31.2 PPG, 10.8 RPG, 6.8 APG, 62.9% FG, elite efficiency, and unquestioned top-tier production. Luka Doncic, 33 PPG, 9 RPG, and 10 APG, 48.7% FG. A perennial triple-double threat and one of the game's most unguardable creators. If any version of this scenario unfolds, the Lakers walk away with the greatest long-term advantage. A Doncic-Giannis partnership immediately becomes the most feared duo in basketball and opens a window for multiple championship runs. Milwaukee enters a new era with valuable assets. Dallas reloads with veteran greatness. Brooklyn and Toronto strengthen their futures through flexibility and youth. This is the type of trade that doesn't just shift a season, it reshapes the entire league.